Hey guys,
Hello there.
welcome to a series that I've been pondering on doing for quite some time now. I generally get some pretty wicked ideas and I always just say to myself, man, I really should be sharing these ideas with others. So here we are. I'm going to share these ideas with you guys. Today I'm going to start this concept series off with a game I like in small doses, for after a while it just gets far too repetitive and lacks in the diversity a game needs to flourish. These particular fixes I feel would far improve the game's quality and retention of any players playing, giving more than just, say, a cash grab of skins. The game I am talking about today is Dead by Daylight. So let's get started. I find myself getting quite bored easily as a solo gamer on DBD, and this is in large part due to the lack of social interactions inside the game. All you get is a pointing emote, a crouch, which I love, don't get me wrong, it's like teabag central over here, let's be honest, and a come closer emote. These are literally basic at best. But for a game that requires teamwork and team interactions, to only have so little options for communicating with others, other than to crouch repeatedly like a spaz to signify some sort of Morse code that others can understand, there's absolutely no way to communicate with the team. Unless you have Discord chat and, well, friends. Good one. To fix this, I believe implementing a proximity chat feature will far improve this game's quality and player base. Obviously, this feature comes with the ability to mute players from a tab or settings menu so that copyright and things such as harassment can be moderated where necessary. Now, this chat, being steadily optimized for a horror game, should only be given a small radius to which other players can hear you, so nothing overly ridiculous where a player can shout across a map or reveal themselves too hastily. Unless they're right near the killer, of course. The killer can hear them too, obviously. Which makes the killer experience all the more fun as well. Adding proximity chat will make gameplay strategies between teams and even solo players more rewarding. It will add a sort of comradeship, elements of further fear to this horror game due to constant genuine screaming and shouting.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
That's a job well done, I say, and if you ever imagined a more realistic scenario, no one is gonna remain silent while being chased by someone. It's just, they'd save money on advertising. Point in case, the Lethal Company that is trending right now. Go check it out if you haven't already. Absolutely priceless, some of the content coming out of that. Proximity chat flourishes here, and for good reason. We are tribe animals, ultimately, and sharing experiences with other humans, even on the other side of the world, sharing a scream or two amongst friends and strangers makes it all the more worthwhile when gaming. Proximity chat will also open up more features to the game, from specified perks to new sound-based killers. It's a must for a feature if they should ever add one. Alright, next up we have a further elaboration on socializing the game that I did briefly mention before, and that is player and killer emotes and voice lines. Expanding the short list of emotes for players and making them changeable would vastly improve the overall experience of the game in my opinion. Not to mention, it would add more features so that the company can make more money and players can further express themselves. It's a win-win scenario for everyone, really. Think games like Fortnite and Overwatch 2, they do this really well, giving players a way to really personalize their experience and gameplay. Think, adding a dance emoji or a fearful screaming face or even something like a sleep emoji, to which could be used beneficially to hide in the shrubs. It just further adds to the experience. It also allows further voice lines to be recorded and added in, to which this may be beneficial when having those celebrity characters like Nicolas Cage, or even for a more humorous effect, adding the Demogorgon's Roar, where a killer can activate it whenever they want. Obviously this has a cooldown, or Sadako dribbling and grumbling bubbles out of her mouth. It really just personalizes the experience and makes it more fun and less rigid and strict. I feel like this feature is another must for a social game setting such as DBD, and why they haven't added even a low-key version of this actually worries me. The Entity's Plane. Welcome to the realm of the Entity, the great evil shadowy presence in the sky whose claws, for me, almost resemble that of thorns and tree branches. I picture a realm of screaming souls constantly echoing, a forest of thorns, and a ferociously red tainted sky, full of dread and demise. Unless the player is lucky enough to find a way out, that is. A door that was left open when the entity brought you through. Think of it as something like a reverse hatch that gives off the same noise, but sends you down again, but not necessarily to victory. This door also has a time limit, much like when the exit gates open, for your soul is getting trapped, and if you don't escape, it will be for all of eternity. Each player gets sent to their own plane in such a situation to avoid teaming up to find the escape hatch and leading other players to it that will result in a just unfair advantage for survivors constantly getting revived. The entity's plane is a way for players to escape the bowels of the entity if they have been hooked and sent upward. Should any survivor manage this difficult task and escape, they return to their death point with little life they have left, disorientated and oblivious to other players, clinging for survival, and no items to help them. A feature where the killer can constantly see the returned soul should be implemented. Your soul is now tainted from the entity's realm. To allow for fairness in game and implementing heavy penalties and slows upon the returned player, such as slower repair times and vaulting speeds, would definitely be added to heavily even out the gameplay of this feature. If the killer should happen to get the remaining survivors all within the entity's plane, it will trigger defeat and a victory for the killer. If a player doesn't wish to continue, they just wait the small window of allotted time and get consumed by the realm like you would a hook. Like any normal game we play. This extra mode would just make the game more interesting. Everyone just leaves when you die and it's just boring. No one wants to click that spectate button in the bottom. This at least will give you a chance to kind of do something extra. Even if they make it really difficult, it just seems like a really cool addition. And that brings us to the wade movement feature. I've thought for quite some time, DBD really needs to add water to certain maps, or better yet, have a map devoted to it. Not necessarily deep water, just water enough, like a small lake for a potential future Jason cameo perhaps. The wade feature will allow walking through water at a reduced speed than normal. Even for killers when wading through water will apply. But this of course opens up avenues for water-based killers, to which I'll get into in a moment. This can divide certain areas of a map, allowing for more secluded places to hide, and creating different strategies in gameplay. Perhaps a cool feature as well, that will also allow a survivor to wash off their blood trails clean due to the water. Now I won't elaborate too much further, as this brings me to my next topic, and that is new killer ideas and new maps. First up, we have the creature. Taken from the 1954 American horror film Creature from the Black Lagoon, this free public domain killer is perfect for a game such as DBD and can allow some really cool new features to be added in the game. Just a note, initially I did think more along the lines of Swamp Thing from the DC TV series, but I imagine getting a license like that could be kinda tough. The creature's skills will allow him to wade through water much faster, with absolutely no penalties at all. A beast of unknown origin, amphibious by nature, the creature lives at the center of the Black Lagoon. Ready to defend its territory from intruders, it will use its ferociously sharp claws to tear enemies to shreds and drag unsuspecting victims to the depths. His first and main ability, Submerge. Press the active ability button when in water or standing over a Black Lagoon puddle to submerge yourself in water and gain the undetectable status effect. Push the attack button again to re-emerge and strike in the direction facing. When underwater for long periods, bubbles begin to rise to the water's surface, alerting survivors of your presence. The creature's first special ability is Summon Black Lagoon. Press the active ability button to summon a Black Lagoon puddle on the ground in front of you. I envision this something similar to the Demogorgon's portals, but instead of gooey flesh vines, it's a little lake, and it's reflective. A sub-ability of the Summon Black Lagoon is Traverse the Black Lagoon. When submerged in a Black Lagoon puddle with a different puddle highlighted, press the active ability button again to travel through the Black Lagoon to arrive at the target puddle, immediately showing bubbles on the surface. The creature's second ability, Drag to the Depths. Press the active ability button when submerged on an injured survivor that is walking past to activate Drag to the Depths to send them to a water prison. When the conditions of Drag to the Depths are met, survivors are drowned in a watery prison. Survivors sent to a water prison can be sacrificed as if they were on a hook. Being rescued will result in the hindered status effect for a short period. Survivors such as Kay Lawrence, the scientist, or David Reed could be considered prime survivor targets for this, and I imagine someone like Kay Lawrence would have some pretty wicked skins as well. The feature map that will come with the creature is the Black Lagoon. The Black Lagoon will be swamp-like in textures with mud stains and dark oak green trees around the sides. In the center of the map, the Black Lagoon will sit, its dark presence looming with a small hut to one edge. From the hut, planks and timber bridges meander over the water. Ramps connect the water's entrances to the bridges and hut above, as well as the lake's lips and entrances. The bridges will allow for traveling over the fearfully murky waters of the Black Lagoon, or if a survivor wishes, they may wade straight through it if you so happen to jump off the bridge and into the depths. But be careful if you take your eyes off the creature, for the creature's strength lies in these very waters, and he may just be waiting for you. Next up, I've seen this killer be requested for quite some time, and there is actually a proper reason as to why he hasn't been added in game yet. There are some very worrisome actions circulating around a certain director and him being convicted of pedophilia, so rightfully so, DBD wouldn't wish to support that in their game. It's just such a shame that the Creeper would have made a fantastic addition to the killer lineup, but anyway, here is the Creeper. Vicious in its nature, the creeper uses the organs and parts of its victims to replenish its rotting flesh. It is attracted to fear, it thrills and fuels its hunger in its 23-day-long hunt once every 23 years. Its first ability, Scarecrow. The creeper starts the trial with 8 Scarecrow statues, set randomly around the map. Press the active ability button to perch yourself onto a Scarecrow statue. Upon perching, the undetectable status effect is activated, hiding you from other survivors. His special attack, Hack. Press the attack button while charging to charge forward and unleash a vicious slash with your axe. And lastly, the Creeper's final ability, Bat Out of Hell. Creeper spreads his wings and gains the ability to fly between highlighted Scarecrow statues. When the Creeper takes flight, players see it as a black blur and hear his terrible wings beating overhead. Any survivor caught in the moving terror radius triggers Fear. Fear causes the oblivious and exposed status effects to be applied simultaneously, and lingers for a short period. Any survivors that are along the flight path of the Creeper are also downed by one stage, while the Creeper continues to fly onto the Scarecrow statue. I pictured this ability kind of like a more personal version of the artist's ability with her crows. The survivors would include Darius, Dari Jenner, and Trish Jenner. Many future characters could also be fleshed out for this because there was more than one movie. The map I envisioned for this one was Taggart Farm. Taggart Farm is a cornfield of tall corn crops as vast as the eye can see that can hide players and killers through a large maze. To the edge of the map, Taggart's Farm sits, the shed looming with its fence for places to vault and tractor and car for places to hide behind. This scene is inspired by Jeepers Creepers 2, obviously. This map is where the Creeper shines brightest, and I feel the tones of yellows and deep sunset oranges would make for a great vibe to a DBD map that is usually soaked in much darker tones. Anyway guys, that is all I have for today's concept series. I have heaps more ideas in the works, but I feel these ones were the most fleshed out at the moment. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like my videos if you enjoyed my content. Make sure to drop a comment if you enjoyed these ideas or have any future video ideas that I should share. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, peace.